welcome back to another episode and edition of JSM FX, where we look at the forex market analysis, focus, and also reviews for the coming week of the reviews for the 13th to the 17th of October 2025, and then a focus for 20th to 24th, that is next week of October 2025. So strap up and let's begin as you're about to enjoy. So starting off from the monthly on Euro USD, that will be my first lookout, or first pair lookout on forex market. So if you look at the monthly, just like I said before, I'm still playing between that high, okay, and this low. So price has moved back to the premium areas, okay, because if you draw your Fibonacci, obviously it is just, you can obviously see with your naked eyes that it has passed the 50% equilibrium. So there is where I'll be expecting at least price to get to where it has. And then right now, as you see here, we have this low, this high, okay, giving us this low, which was a pullback, and then price pushed up. So when price came back right now, it is just in this demand, okay. So for me, if you ask me, because of this whole uptrend from here, why I see this uptrend still continuing to the upside. So unless this low gets broken to the downside, I'm still looking or anticipating price to at least go back to the upside, maybe to come and mitigate this supply, where if it does something like that, then we get a change of character there, and then I'll be looking for any supplies around there, and then maybe play the pullback, or maybe play the continuation, play the continuation to the downside. Yes, I had talked about so many conferences, especially in my previous videos, where we saw that there was this bearish kind of flag, which obviously has been broken. But if you ask me, I feel yes, we could go to the upside, but I won't want to anticipate on that for now. So what I'm only concentrating on is just that demand that I've shown to you about, this recent one, this one here. So price has come into it, and right now it's just ranging inside there. So unless it decides to go up a little bit, to maybe to this supply right here, which is this candle, if it does go to the supply and then I get a change of character, you know the drill, will play the sells to the downside. Weekly now, weekly also not really that different from the monthly, because still this the monthly that's the monthly demand that I'm still looking at, and I'll be expecting for it to, for price to at least react from there and then continue to the upside. Okay, so what is just confusing right now is that we had this low. Let me just draw into it, and so that you can see. So I have this high, okay, bring back to this low, okay, but before that low we see a pullback here, and then a push to the upside, then to the downside, and then I have this inside bar, okay, which now had created that demand, and then price went to the upside, and then another push to the demand, this inside bar, which now push price to the upside. So again, we see price coming back to this demand, okay, and then pushing to the upside, which obviously price pulled back with this demand, okay. When it came down like this, then price pulled back again, but push price lower. So it only pushed price lower because, as you can see, it was just building the sell side liquidity, so it came and took the guys out, okay. So for me, this could be one signal that maybe, just maybe, we could be continuing to the downside. But still, because of these two candles, because of how these two candles behave, that means this bearish candle, the next one that we see, had not broken the previous one where we are right now. It had not broken the high or even the low. It's just I think it's just ranging around this bearish candle. So unless we break to the upside or the downside, I have nothing to see from the weekly, okay. But still on the monthly, we just spoke about, for me, I'll be expecting this to go out, to be taken out, for me to at least look for any possibilities or maybe anticipation to maybe start thinking about selling to the downside. But until then, we still have this monthly demand, which price is actually inside in and waiting for us to see if it will react from, and then maybe choose the next direction it wants to go. From the daily, now the daily looks a bit interesting. Please, if you are disturbed with the colors, please just bear with me, because I'm also trying to explain to you and make it easy for me to show you where my levels are and how they reacted and how the order flow is going for the pair. Okay, so for the green, the green levels, that's the demand and supply. That's just for the daily. For this one here, this I think light blue or luminous blue, this is my weekly areas. So try and at least remove these weekly areas in your mind, and let us focus on the green sections, which are my daily demands and supply. So we see price coming down here. I've explained this a lot, especially in my last videos. And we also see how price came up, okay, only to mitigate that demand, and then range a little bit to mitigate that demand. But obviously they were just pushing price to the upside and also building sensor liquidity, because after here we see price coming back, okay, and reacting on all those areas just to come and take them out. So this is the trade, like I spoke on my previous videos. This is the trade that I shared in the group. For me, I didn't take it because I was monitoring, the higher time frames and see how they actually respect levels. So we see price coming back, okay, to this supply. It actually wicked it a little bit and then moved to the downside like that, okay. So what has it done right now is price went our direction. For anyone that took this and was patient enough to wait for it to come to this point, um, price went our direction, and then we started ranging a little bit here with quite some few pullbacks, okay, and then price pushed to the upside. For me, I feel this push, okay, I feel this push to the upside is just to this supply, okay, where maybe I would be anticipating either two things: either price reacts from this demand and goes to the upside, but I am still convinced that this demand is weak, okay. Why is it weak? Because it created a double top here, and it also reacted from this demand, okay, which this demand was actually anticipated for many, that would still come back down here before continue to the upside. So because it left this void, that is this demand, because it left this void, price has just come to this demand to react from it right here and right here, and also to build liquidity. Okay, so right now we have triple bottom. For anyone who trades at the tops and the bottoms, then you could be right with this move, okay, but be very wary, be very careful. That price could actually come and mitigate this demand, then look for any supply. That is for the big guys. Look for any supplies and then come and continue the downtrend, because this was all liquidity that was built. So two things: either it reacts from that demand and goes to the upside, or maybe comes to the downside. So for me, if you ask me, I still have my eye. I still have my eye on this demand, and I'm really expecting for at least price to come back down there. But I'm not the one to force these issues. So let me just let it happen for the big guys and let them decide on what they want. But for me, I'll only react if price does come there, and also look for any opportunities that I'll get around here. Okay, so let's go to the 4 hour. So 4 hour also interesting, very, very interesting. I actually was in that recent trend that you're just seeing right now. Now I won't want to talk much about the previous sections, because we've talked a lot about them in the weekly and monthly and daily. So let me just concentrate on the structure and also the move that we'll be expecting. So for me, I'm playing between that high and that low. Sorry, that low and that high. Price has pulled back, okay, to my discounted areas. Okay, so maybe we could be seeing actually those double bottoms, holding on to price and then pushing price to the upside, because ideally we are still in an uptrend. Remember, lower low, lower high, higher low, sorry, higher low, higher high. Then we had a lower low, but again we had a higher high. So price has switched bullish according to 4 hour. And yes, I'll be expecting at least, because it has come to the discounted areas around here that is below 50% of equilibrium, then I'll be expecting maybe price to continue to the upside. So what happens right now is price did its wonders, especially for this week. Uh, Starting off from here, we saw that we had this change of character, which price pushed down, came back up. I think I took this trade to the downside like that, and then came down, and then came down again. And then when it arrived around here, we saw that we had a little push to the upside, which was that week that we saw in the daily. And then we had a change of character, and then this was just an analysis I was doing, so I saw the price actually respected. So because I saw this happening, I didn't want to now let this I didn't want to let this move, the next move, to go without me. So what happened is I noticed that we had a move to the upside, then we had a change of character, which this was the beginning of the week. I think of the other week, the start of October, around there. Then price push back to the supply and then move to the downside. So again, this trade was very good. So it gave me a good profit, and as you can see, my 3R line was there. So when price got to that point, I took partials, believing and also having confidence that price will still push to the downside and come and mitigate either this demand or this demand, which actually did that later on. So moving on, we see price respecting other areas of supply up until here, where now I was uncertain. I knew that this was my last supply, okay, this buy to sell range around here, okay. I knew that this would be my last supply, where I'll be expecting price to at least react from and continue to the downside. But when it came now this week, when it came this week to create that double bottom, I now began being skeptical about it, and I moved my stop loss trade to that point where you see, and then as you can see, price came and hit, took me out, and then moved to the upside. So what we're seeing is price came back, okay, only to mitigate this pullback, okay, this demand, and then move to the upside again to mitigate that supply. But it still was giving us the momentum that they are, pushing back to the upside like that, okay. So what are we seeing right now is price is in this demand. Okay, so two things: either it reacts from it and continue to the upside, or maybe continue to the downside. Now, what am I seeing? What am I expecting? What am I feeling? What am I anticipating? For one, I would say that drawing back again, we had this low, okay, that was broken. It got broken around here. So for me, this is not a pullback. Okay, this is not a significant pullback for me. So what I'll say is, for the internal structure, we have the move to the downside like that. Okay, so after the move to the downside, we see a pullback, a decent pullback. Okay, so if you ask me, for this internal structure, apart from the a swing structure that you're seeing, the order flow for this one was just a downtrend. Okay, so lower high, lower low, lower high, then lower low. So what I'm seeing right now is I am playing between this high and this low. Now price has pulled back decently to the premium areas, okay, and then moved to the downside. If you put in a fib, again, like I said, from the high to the low, we see price has actually pulled back very decently to those areas of supply, which another confluence is this daily supply, and also this 4 hour supply also. So all that, for me, I feel it's aligned, but I'll also want to see what will happen, or how things will be coming in next week. Okay, like you see with the blue vertical lines, those are my weekly lookout, just to see on how the week behaved and how it played out. So for me, I'm expecting now to at least see if I can capitalize on this demand to just get to have any opportunity that I can get there, maybe to continue push to the upside. But if I do, I won't trade it. I don't trade on Monday. So for Monday, I just want to see how it will react from here. But for now, if it does break to the downside, then I'll be looking for any areas of supply and then maybe continue to the downside. Why are we continuing to the downside? Is because of those triple bottoms that I'm still expecting, and also for the daily demand that is still fresh and expecting price to come to. Okay, so I think that will be all for Euro USD, because if you look at 15 minutes, there is so much noise. By the way, to be very honest, I want to confess something. I think I'll turn to a swing trader. I'll turn to a swing trader because how price is reacting to higher time frame is very important. The only thing that is needed is your psychology to stay intact, and also patience. Okay, also patience. But if you really insist on me to look at 15 minutes, I really don't want to go over this past, because I had multiple of trades that actually brought me or took me back to break even. But I'm really grateful right now, because there's one trade. I only took one trade, but not on this pair, because of the 4-hour trade that I was already in. So I didn't want to take another trade from Euro USD. I wanted to concentrate on other pairs, which I happen to add one more. I'll share it throughout the end of the video. But if you ask me about 15 minutes, then yes, we have the move to the upside, which broke structure of that high, and all these could be pullbacks. But for me, are not significant like this one, which was actually deeper a little bit. So yes, the move right now is the pullback, okay, to the downside. Okay, and also we have the internal structure also shaping up to show us that the bearish kind of move is still continuing like that. Okay, so let's all be very, very careful to wait for the market to come to our setups. For me, I won't lie to you, I'm only looking for setups from 4-hour to at least target 2 to 3 hour, which for me, I see they work quite a lot easy, if you ask me. And fast, if not, if it's going to take a long time, then maybe a day or two. But patience and psychology really plays out in these higher time frames. Anyway, I don't want to talk much about Euro USD. Let's just now turn to USD CHF before we go to the surprise pair that I have for you. Okay, so USD CHF, what are we looking at? Starting off from the weekly. For this one, the monthly is not really that important, because as you can see, typically price is still moving on to the downside. So for me, I feel this downward move will still continue. Okay, and there's not really much that much to look at from the monthly. So let me just start off with the weekly. So I'll only look at this section, because obviously we are just ranging, and also these are higher time frames, so nothing much is going to be expected from here. But what is still very typical is that we are in a downtrend. Price did break this low, but not with the candle close. Okay, so maybe we could see this week pushing price to the upside. Okay, but I see price right now coming up like that, and then pulling back with this inside bar, and then pushing up to come and mitigate further deeper into this supply, and then moving downwards. So two things, because it has breached, okay, or broken this demand, it's either they'll maybe look for any supplies and maybe continue to the downside. Okay, but for now, because this candle has not closed yet, it is still dancing around that low. I still wait to see how much of importance that area will be. Okay, because right now buyers and sellers are fighting, and the they are still undecided on which other direction or which next direction that they will start focusing on. So that's just the weekly. Let's move on to the daily. Now from the daily we see also the downtrend is still continuing, and also with the daily we have a candle close below. Okay, so I also want to talk about what I had last week and also in my previous videos to let you know on what I am facing or what has played out this week and also the month. So we see price pushing back up to that supply, coming back down again to this demand, which was actually taking out all this liquidity and then move to the upside. So again, coming down like that, I think I've explained so much about these areas in my previous videos, but as you can see, the way I'm drawing, price is reacting. It's reacting to those supplies and giving us the downtrend kind of momentum up to there. So we see again that when price went up like that, came to mitigate the supply, we expected the supply to break the low, but that didn't happen. So what happens is we have this demand being created, which pushed price up and then came down, range a little bit between that demand, that supply and this demand, which demand happened to win that battle and then pushed price to the upside, which we see price coming back to that deeply into that weekly the supply and also this daily. So I think for the last week's video we were looking at price being around here, and it had pushed, okay, it had pushed price to the upside like that with that little pullback, okay. But again, with this inside bars, we see price, with the benefit of hindsight, we see price that pushed to the downside to this demand. Remember, I also talked about this demand after the change of character in my last video, whereby this exchanging wicks, okay, and this demand could hold and push price to the upside, but that wasn't the case. I told people to be very, very, very careful of this demand, which actually seems to be the reason why they came down. Why? Because after the change of character, we see price pushed and close above. Number two, we see all this inside liquidity being created, the uptrend, and we also see this. I noticed this demand that was unmitigated with price came back in, and then maybe, just maybe, they could be ready now to continue to the upside. Now what is confusing right now is we have this, or I see this supply, which could be the one being used also to continue with the weekly downtrend to downward move to the to the downside, okay. Or maybe there could be exhaust, there could be um satisfied with the move to the downside, the liquidity taken out, and then maybe more pushed price to the upside. So I'll be very wary for this. This candle could be, this move could be the one to like push price to this supply, and also I'll be very wary of this supply, maybe could be the one to push price to the downside. So anything can happen. Let's just wait and see. Going on to 4 hour, this is where things get interesting, and this is where we get most of our trades. So starting off from the weekly, starting off from the 4 hour structure, we see price pulling down and breaking that low, same as daily, and right now it has pulled back decently, correctively to a decent area of premium sides. So maybe this would be the reason to push price to the downside, okay, because of the whole downtrend move that we just saw in the high time frames. So what are we seeing right now? For me, I see that there was a change of character around here and price pushed to the upside. Now this was this was just an analysis that I left off for also the people in my group to look at and be maybe risk it to see if it would give them a good return. So we see again price pushed down to that area, coming back to some areas of supply and then push down again to some area of demand, but still price just wanted to continue to the downside. So what I'm expecting right now is after the push to the downside, which mitigated this demand, I see price coming back up to, you know, take out all these highs and then push price to the downside to come and mitigate further deeper into this demand. So you see how price has changed direction. Okay, and possibly this direction could continue and also break the low. So like I said, two things for me. I see on the 4 hour, either price comes to this point, okay, where I will look at the, you know, risk that can be taken from here, and maybe play another 2 or 3 hour to the downside. Okay, so that's that's one area that I'll be looking at coming in next week, like you see in my vertical blue lines. Okay, so this is last week. So last week really pushed price down, and for this week I see, for this coming week, I see price at least doing a little bit of pullbacks either to this supply or this supply before maybe continuing with the downtrend that we saw on the higher time frames. So that's just what I'm expecting from USD CHF coming in this week. So this was a very good trade. By the way, this was a very good trade, 3.11 R. So yeah, I think I'm getting a hold of the high time frames to actually get these opportunities and also get this money. So 15 minutes, I won't want to say much because I'm really trying to avoid all the noise that is going on here. Okay, but upon getting involved, I will just say that yes, we have broken this low. Coming down to this part, let me try and zoom in. Coming down to this part of the law, I see we have a change of character inside. Remember, inside that 4 hour demand. Okay, so price pushed back, pulled back, and then made another low. So we have a change of character here, which this would have been a very good trade, by the way, but because I wasn't around, I just, you know, just let it fly. I think with the other trade that I have on my surprise pair, I didn't want to get that much involved and, you know, raise up my adrenaline to some point where it would make sense in concentrating, because I'd live in confusion wanting to juggle around the two charts. So after the change of character, we see price coming back to this demand, but also it came back to that demand to only take its liquidity. So you see this low of this demand inside bar. If I put my cursor there, just below that low, we see that that next candle that wicked it right here, okay, it wicked it, so it took liquidity and then pushed price to the upside. So yes, like I said, we have price creating a supply around here with the 4 hour. So for me, I'll be expecting at least after this pullback, price could be pulling back, coming in next week, maybe to that supply and then continue to the downside. So anything can happen, you know, but if I do get a confluence, if I do get my confluence right and all of them met at say this point of supply, okay, and also for the same change of character, I'll have to put this one here. I also have a change of character here, bearish one. So after that, I see price mitigating. I think my PCs or my net is slow. So yes, so I see price reacting from that demand and then push price to the downside, which also signals for me that that was just all change or continue of direction. So right now it's just pulling back, so maybe I'll be expecting for it to come to up there, okay, before maybe continue to the downside. So if I get all my confluence lined up around here, Okay, then I'll be looking for maybe areas of supply on the 15 minutes, areas of supply where I can sell off from and then continue to the downside. So if you look again during that week, I don't know why. I think my net is either slow, my computer, but let it just load. So looking at the week and how it started, we see the price, push down. And I remember, I think I explained this trade from last week, this one here, which pushed down, not really with the news, but something, affected the market to actually push it down like that. So we see how the internal structure was behaving, moving to the upside and then move to the down upside again. Okay, like that. And then right here, it started ranging. Okay, so after it ranged around there, I noticed that price came back down, okay, to take out this internal breakout structure and also mitigate that demand. So after mitigating that demand, I notice, let me just zoom in at that area, because I know most of you maybe will not get a very clear view. Let me just zoom in, give me a minute. So this is one of the trades that I took and also shared in the group. So yes, we have this move to the upside, which was a pullback, and then push price down later to mitigate that demand, and then had a change of character, push price back down to this demand, and then went up. So for me, I had forgotten that this IBOS had been broken. Okay, so what happened is price pushed up like that. So when I was still in profit, I pushed my stop loss trail to there, but I think when price came up to here, it had reached my 2R. So when price came up to there, I took my partials and then trailed my stop loss to there. And then when price came and took me out, I'd already secured some profits. So that's just how I took that trade. And for the sake of the week, or looking at the week overall, if it could load for me. So we have this week. Have this week where now price traded to the downside, as you can see with the internal breakout structure. So this for me, this was my last high, and then we have this low here. So lower high, lower low. Price now came back up to take out all these highs and then push to the upside, to the downside. So meaning this, for me now, this gives me a strong conviction that this is my strong supply, where I'll be expecting price to come and mitigate before continuing to the downside. So that's just my focus and reviews for USD CHF. And yeah, so let's wait and see how next week will be. So for now, let's go to the surprise pair and look at it in an extensive way, to also read the market and see what it can give us, possibly coming in next week of 20th to 24th of October 2025. So for the surprise pair, that's Germany 40. That's what I've been trying to, look at of late. But also, I've also been, interested because a friend of mine, very good friend of mine, has also been looking at it. So I was like, you know what, let me join your boat and get to see if we can, get some money from this one. So yes, so this is German 40, and I'll start off from the daily, because I've not really looked at the weekly, to be honest, but from the daily, because also he is looking at it from this, starting from this pair. uh, the move is still to the upside. Okay, the move is still to the upside, and he told me that for him, this whole section has no significant pullback. So yes, he for him, he doesn't see any reason to mark any other highs to show himself that we are still continuing to the uptrend, or maybe the highs or the uptrend is move of order flow or to the upside is being created. So no significant pullback around there. So that's the last high, okay, which created that low and then came and broke that previous high, that low now. So all this is just a range, Okay, all this is just a range. Yes, you had a change of character around here, the bullish one to the upside, and then coming to this section also, we see that price pushed down and then pushed up and then came down to create that change of character, and then came back to what most of you maybe call this as a fair value gap, and then price pushed to the downside. So for me, or rather for us, we see this, we expect this pullback to at least continue, maybe to this section of demand or maybe this section of demand. So anything can happen, like I said, but only if this low gets broken, okay, this push to the upside maybe could continue, because ideally we just saw how this structure that we just drew, the skeleton one, is still moving price or showing price that's moving to the upside. So if you ask me also, again, I'm really not concentrating about all this liquidity, especially this trend line. Okay, I'm really not concentrating on this one for now. Okay, what I'm concentrating on is after this change of character, we had a pullback here. I need you to notice something. For me, I see a pullback here that didn't touch the supply. Okay, so two things: either from here it comes and touch that supply, continues to the downside, or touch this supply and continue to the downside, because this supply was the one that was left, okay, before maybe breaking that previous low, which is this one. Okay, and another thing, after the change of character, price has pulled back to the area, this whole range, the sell to buy range right here. Okay, I've not drawn on it because I normally just picture it in my head and put it at the back of my mind. Okay, but I don't want to concentrate on it that much. For now, just understand that price has come back to that range, and it could react maybe to this supply or this supply and then continue to the downside, or maybe just continue with the trend. Okay, just continue the trend. So for me, I will still want to wait and see other conferences to meet up coming in next week, just to get to decide on which way to go. But this is just the daily, so let's just look at the lower time frames and see what we have in store. So 4 hour, what are we seeing in 4 hour? Now remember that daily change of character right here. For now, I can say that price is playing between that low and that high. Okay, like that. And we see very well that after the move to the upside, price has pulled back, and the pullback was very significant because we see it coming below that 50% equilibrium, which technically tells us that we are around our discounted area. So maybe we could expect this move to the upside to continue, or maybe push price and continue with the trend to the upside. Okay, so very simple. Coming in this week, that is around here, so after the change of character right there, we had that slight pullback which came to the fair value gap, but didn't actually touch the areas of supply around there. So again, price pushed down. Okay, this one now gets interesting, because if you don't notice these moves early, then you will miss your entries. Okay, so when price came back, it only came back to this exchanging wicks. That is for this one is a sell to buy. Okay, the sell to buy range, but for me I call them exchanging wicks. So reacted from there, came up, and then came down again. Let me zoom in. Came down again with this inside bar, and then pushed up to take out that high, and then cause a change of character. So two things. This was also confusing for me, I won't lie to you. I was expecting at least this supply to be hit before continuing to the downside. Why? Because after this break of this low, okay, I was expecting the pullback to at least come to this area and then continue to the downside. But as you can see, it didn't do that. So what it did, it created a change of character, and then after the move to the downside like this and push price up with that wick, okay, on this I think hanging man or doji came up to this supply. Okay, so from that point onwards, I said, you know what, I'm going to risk this trade and continue to the downside, because you already have the pullback, sorry, the break of structure, the internal structure around there. So this was a very risky entry, by the way, but I took a leap of faith and put in or placed in my sell stop order around there, so that I can protect my money, because I was still expecting price to come up here. So if it did come, if it would have come up there, then that means my sell stop order would not be tagged, and obviously I won't have any trade. Okay, so for that matter, after the uh the sell stop order, I came and after I placed my sell stop order, this candle came and tagged me in. Okay, and price pushed down, and then it started ranging. I think this was on Thursday. Started ranging and then went back up to that supply. Okay, so I was now confused, and I said, you know what, let me just make peace with my losses and accept what's going to happen. So after that point, I think I went to sleep around here Thursday during the New York session, and then when I woke up, I got price around here. Okay, this was on Friday. So I said to myself, okay, fine, then let me just trail my stop loss slowly, so that I can continue monitoring the price and see how it will play out. So when price came back down, I think now this was on Friday around London session with this candle. When it came down like that, that's when I told myself, you know what, I won't want to stress much, because my TP was not that far from where price was around here, and it came down to this demand. I felt because of this exchanging weeks, this next demand could not be hit. Okay, so only this hanging man was the one that was targeted, which price came back to take out all the stop losses that were set below this hanging man or doji, and then price pushed to the upside. So for me, when price came back to that demand and then wicked it around there with that created that wick, I just pulled out of the trade and then called it a day. So it was a very good trade, and yes, it was risky, but it was worth it. So what am I expecting right now? I see this low being broken, so this now is not my next high, this is my next high. So maybe for this pullback to react from any supply, then this would be the one. So maybe I'll be expecting next week for price to come to this point, okay, before maybe continuing to the downside. Also, maybe they could come and wick this area of supply, because if you check very well also on this area of supply, we have this high that was taken out, because when price came back down, we would have expected for it to come and react from that supply and then continue to the downside. But what it do, it came up deeper, okay, above. It came up back above this previous high, took out the liquidity of that high, and then pushed price to the downside. So also this could be liquidity, same as this one. Okay, for me, that's how I'm looking at it. So yes, for now, this is my high. Okay, so I'll mark that as my high, internal high, and internal low that was just broken. So now I'll be playing around this high and this low. So for this pullback, maybe unless it reacts from any areas of supply around here, I'll be expecting for at least it to come and mitigate, or maybe weak this area of supply and then continue to the downside. So that's just one of the trades that I took, and I also shared it in the group. So if anyone took it, then yes, it was just, I think this week I've been humbled well enough with the markets to just only take few trades. So I only had this trade happening. This was my massive trade, which gave me good returns. I think I'm back again on FTMO at 2.25 or 27% up at 2.25. So yeah, I'm proud of seeing that happen, and pray that I do or make more of that coming in next week, and also the end of the year. So I won't want to explain much from the lower time frames, like the 15 minute, For me, because this was my last high, so that turns out to be the same structure on the 15 minute, actually the swing structure on the 15 minute, as you can see. Yes, this move to the upside like that, okay, could be the one that I'll be expecting for at least it to, continue to the upside. So one is this supply. I'll be keeping my concentration on that coming into lower time frames, maybe to come and react here and then continue to the upside. So I have this supply that I'll be looking at, concentrating on, and also this supply. Okay, so those two supplies will be the one I'll be looking at, and then maybe if I get any conferences around there, move on and continue with the downtrend. So yeah, I think that will be all. That was a surprise pair that I had for you, and that is what I'll be expecting from Germany 40 coming in, or rather the DAX. Okay, they call it the DAX. So I'll be expecting from the DAX to at least continue to the downside. So I don't have much. That's just all for this week. My name is JSMFX. If you want us to trade together, every link will be left in the description box below. Let me know what you think about my analysis, by the way. And coming in, I think the end of October, I'll be well enough to, give you more detailed data on my account and how I'm doing, and also get to see or listen to your views or even questions that you might have. So leave your questions, leave your comments down in the comment section below. And if you want us to trade together, join me. My Telegram is free of charge. I'll leave the link there in my description box. If you want private mentorship, let me know also. I'm active on YouTube, TikTok, and also Telegram with the same name, JSMFX. So I don't have much to say. I only want to wish you a good weekend. My condolences to the family, friends, and the whole Kenya, to former Prime Minister Raila with the passing. Okay, my condolences to the family and friends and the whole Kenya for the passing of our former Prime Minister, Mr. Raila Odinga. We are really saddened by that news. He was an icon to us, and yeah, for many, very many young people, they really looked up to a very good leader of such stature. So may God comfort the family, and also may God bless them. Okay, so I don't have much. You guys have a nice weekend, and yeah, God bless you. See you on the next one. Peace.